All right, everybody, welcome to Who's Your Band. I am Jeffrey Paul. I'm joined by Sean Morton. How are you, Sean?
Jeffrey, I'm fantastic. I'm freezing my fucking nuts off down here. Let's make this quick. No
Okay.
fucking heat in my basement.
They have these things that you can get called like a space heater.
I have a wood burning stove, but this is how moronic I am. I buy this fucking house, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I'll have a fireplace. No fireplace. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks. Then I have a wood burning stove in my basement. I'm like, no, I don't want to put that on because that's like fucking fire in my house. That's how retarded I am. Like I'm stupid. I should be putting this thing on and heating my basement so I'm not freezing down here doing this shit with you. But every goddamn time I got to walk upstairs with frozen feet.
Yeah, you are a pretty stupid guy. I'm not going to argue with you on
Never
that.
gonna argue with that.
But you're going to like this segue, Sean, because we have a hot guest with us today. All right.
Oh, I love you.
Because this guy was a comedy producer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a director. Okay.
Yeah.
He'll tell us what kind of movies he directs. And he's a magister in the Church of Satan. We welcome to the show, David Harris. How are you, David?
Hello, folks. How are you today? Thanks so much for having me here.
I wanted you on for a long time because we go back a long ways, man. We haven't seen you in forever. But
I think the last time we saw each other was the LOA show.
yeah, we had dinner outside. It was freezing that night too.
Yes, it was.
God damn it.
That was a good night, though.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Quick question. This now, I don't know much about this, but I looked you up, and you're a really interesting guy. I have a ton of stuff I got to ask you. Okay,
I don't know how to take that.
So I don't even want to do this little like banter before. I want to just get into this interview with you, dude.
Okay.
So let's get right into this, man. What is a magister in the Church of Satan?
Well, I suppose we should start with what is Satanism. Satanism was founded in 1966 by Anton Szandor LaVey. Prior to 1966, there was no codified religion known as Satanism. Prior to 1966, the word was just a pejorative that was thrown about by Christians to discuss anything that they didn't like, including, Jews, Muslims, Wiccans, other Christian denominations. Everything that they didn't like was satanic or they were Satanists. There was never a religion called Satanism until Anton LaVey created the Church of Satan in 1966. I am a magister in that church. That is a fourth degree Satanist. There are 5 degrees. To put it in the equivalency of something the audience might understand, it's, I suppose, the Catholic equivalent of a cardinal.
Shit.
So, David, were you
My fucking friend's a cardinal?
Were you a Catholic before this?
I was, actually. I was baptized Catholic by my parents, and none of that stuck.
So what made you switch over to this? Or were you trying to find something and you kind of fell into this, or was this something you always kind of like drawn to? Like how did you go from being baptized, grow up in a Catholic household, and then fall into the Church of Satan?
Well, I from pretty much the time that I reached the age of reason, as George Carlin liked to put it, I've been an atheist. I think
most people who are part of this church, they are atheists, correct?
All people who are part of this church are atheists. The Church of Satan is an atheist religion. We do not believe in an anthropomorphic deity called Satan. That's Christian mythology. We take the entire Christian mythos and throw it away.
So just to be clear, you don't believe that there's a guy, with a pitchfork and hoofs for hands and a tail, and he's poking people. You don't believe in that. That guy doesn't exist.
Correct. There is no God where, there is no heaven where God reigns supreme. There is no hell where sinners roast. This life is the only life that there is. So you should enjoy it while you're here, because once you're dead, you're dead.
That sounds very, very almost like stoic. The life you have is a short amount of time that we're here, and enjoy the life that we have. So why is it then called the Church of Satan, or is Satan a misunderstood term?
Well, the term Satan is another word that Christians hijacked from the Jews. Its original translation means the adversary, one that stands in opposition. There is no character of Satan in the Old Testament. It refers to several different characters who are adversaries of various other characters within the book. And that is what we are. We are the adversary. We stand in opposition to any and all spirituality, because spirituality is bullshit.
So you don't worship the devil, right?
I worship myself.
What does that mean?
That means that I am my own God. I have the ability, more so than anyone else in this world, to affect change, whether it be positive or negative, in my life. There is no higher being in my life than me, because without me, I have no life.
Okay.
What do you subscribe to? Because in how the world was created, how people are created, because there are some people who believe in evolution, Darwinism, and then there are the spiritual people that it was God and Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden. Do you believe in any of those theories?
I certainly subscribe to the theory of evolution because there is a great deal of science to back it up. There's no science to back up the Garden of Eden. That's just
faith.
That's just a complete made-up story.
I gotta tell you, man.
Hmm.
I think I came from a lot of the same roots that you did, because like I was born and raised a Roman Catholic. I went to 17 years of freaking Catholic school. You know what I mean? But the older I get, the more, not that I'm going to say that I'm on the side of yours, but like I always hear people say, "Oh my God, I'm praying for you." So then when I say, no, if I'm having surgery, don't pray for me. I just hope that my doctor is fucking good. Because I don't think the prayer thing is like this world changing thing. I just don't believe that. I'm more of a matter of fact kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to believe, like, look, don't pray for me that I'm going to be okay. You know what? Maybe kind of hope that my doctor didn't go on a bender the night before. Maybe he doesn't have a fucking twitchy hand that day.
Yeah, I'm getting everything
Now the thing that most people don't understand about that very principle is that all of that energy, whether you're talking about prayer or send positive vibes or whatever kind of window dressing you want to put on that, it all comes from within you. And there are Satanists who believe that that kind of energy, putting it out into the world, can affect some kind of real world change. It just has nothing to do with a god in the sky. It has nothing to do with a devil in hell. It has nothing to do with any of the thousands of deities that man has conjured up in his wild little brain since man has existed. It comes from within you as a human being. You generate those feelings of positivity and you put them out. And if it does nothing other than make the person that you're talking to feel better, then it's done its job.
Do you believe in energy? Do you believe in energies?
What do you mean energy, Sean?
I do in a sense, because when you get into the principles of ceremonial magic, that is the cornerstone of that, is that releasing of that energy to purge yourself of those emotions. If it does nothing more than make you feel better, then it's done its job. If it does more than that, then it's gravy. Can we sit here and attest that it's done more than that? Individuals would say yes. Other individuals would say no. It's a very subjective experience.
Is there a book like kind of like a Bible or a Gilgamesh? There is.
It's called the Satanic Bible. It was written by Anton LaVey. It was published in 1969. It's still available to this day as a HarperCollins paperback. You can pick it up in any local bookstore or on Amazon.
Are there rituals or ceremonies? Kind of like
yes,
you mentioned baptism. So walk us through a couple of those.
So the Satanic Bible outlines 3 basic rituals that pretty much encompass the whole spectrum of human emotion, which really can be boiled down into one of 3 scenarios. And they are rituals for lust, compassion, and destruction, all of which are fairly self-explanatory. Obviously, if you're lusting after somebody and you're hemmed up by those feelings of wanting to get with that person, you can hold a ceremony and release that sexual energy.
Hold on. You're going real quick. and you're saying a lot of interesting shit here. Okay.
Yeah, and Jeff's
So
not that smart. Just understand this. He's really trying
no,
to.
no, no. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this clearly. So if there's someone who I want to get with, sexually, there's a ceremony that could be performed that would help me attract this person.
Yes. First thing you do is drive to Fire Island.
He's such a fucking hack. Dave, please continue.
Yeah, so if you're hampered by these feelings and you're feeling you can't approach this girl because you just can't, something is blocking you, you can hold a ceremony for yourself in the privacy of your own ritual chamber and release yourself of those feelings and feel unencumbered by those feelings and walk up to that girl with confidence and talk to her. Maybe
Who am I praying to?
Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
But who am I praying to?
You're not.
When we step into the ritual chamber, we believe in we refer to it as what is called an intellectual decompression. You're stepping into a theater. You're playing a part. You're engaging in a role. And through that role, you are releasing yourself of whatever it is that's burdening you. That's the best way to answer that question.
So
Okay,
it's kind of, and so put it this, so kind of like in the Roman Catholic world, maybe like a confession.
That is one that, since that is a Roman Catholic ceremony, that could absolutely be an equivalency. Since that is one of their drab, boring ceremonies.
What's another ceremony or ritual that you said there were three?
Yeah, there's rituals, and again, these are just the very basic ceremonies. Of course, we always encourage folks to dress them up, make them your own, because again, all of that stuff comes from within you. I published an article in Penthouse once talking specifically about sex magic and magic in general. And really anything can be a magical item. If that baseball mitt that you use to catch the pop fly that won the big game in the third grade is something special to you, it has meaning to you, then that is a magical item to you. You can use it as such. It's imbued with an energy that goes beyond the fact that it's just your glove. It has special, sacred meaning to your life. That's what people who engage in, what's the word I'm looking for? People that preach from a Christian pulpit, televangelists, folks like that, the big evangelist types who want to convince you that their flavor of whatever it is they're selling is the only one that works. They all work if you're conducive to that particular imagery, that particular aesthetic. I have chosen Satanism because it's an aesthetic and a philosophy that appeals to me.
Okay. How were you introduced to it?
I just strictly out of curiosity one day picked up the Satanic Bible. I believe I was 19. I read it.
Where'd you see it? Wait, where'd you see a Satanic Bible laying around?
A bookstore.
Okay, because you went to a bookstore and
I read. I'm quite literate.
Fucking Chuck E. Cheese, Jeff. Of course.
It's like, listen, I've never seen a Satanic Bible.
I have. I've seen that. I've seen the Quran laying around.
Of course. I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I find this whole thing really super fascinating.
I do too, and this is the reason why I wanted Dave on here, is because there's so many things that get a bad reputation and that get a misinformed interpretation.
Well,
so that's why I wanted him on here.
That was my follow-up question here. Are there some common misconceptions about the Church of Satan? It sounds like there's a lot of them.
There are quite a bit. Of course, the one that we already touched on, the major one, and that's that Satanists worship the devil. Of course, we've covered that. Satanists do not. We are atheists. Another common misconception, particularly lately, is that Satanists en masse like to engage in political activism, and nothing could be further from the truth. Satanists are encouraged to engage in their own individual politics. However, you cannot speak for all Satanists with regards to politics, because you can't get two Satanists to agree on what politics should be. Satanism is an individualistic religion, and as such, each individual Satanist has their own personal politics. So when you see groups who are, evangelizing, is that the word?
Yeah. When you're preaching,
Quote unquote, on behalf of, say, some leftist political ideology, which some Satanists may or may not agree with, but they claim to be doing so in the name of all Satanists. That is just patently false. Groups like that don't represent Satanism, and that's a common misconception that goes around now.
do you celebrate any holidays?
The highest holiday one can celebrate in Satanism is one's own birthday. And I like to celebrate my birthday, make it a very debaucherous time, because you're celebrating the birth of your God.
Which is you.
Yes, exactly.
And I believe your birthday is close to mine, isn't it?
I believe we're both August birthdays. Yeah?
Yes. When's your birthday?
The 9th.
On the 13th. So listen, Jeff, you're in a fucking presence of double greatness here.
Exactly.
So what do you do to celebrate your birthday?
I
get a feeling it's not just a cake.
Get together with friends, have just a wild party. There's usually some kind of alcohol involved, all kinds of debauchery.
Christmas, is just December 25th for you, right?
I love Christmas. Christmas to me is one of the most satanic holidays there is, because it celebrates, gift giving and gluttony and capitalism. And these are a few of my favorite things.
Are there a lot of members of the Church of Satan?
Membership in the Church of Satan has grown consistently since it was created in 1966. Of course, we do not divulge our membership rolls because A, it's nobody's business, and B, you don't really want to hand out that kind of information, because if we're seen as too small, we're not taken seriously. If we're seen as too large, we're taken as a threat. So no one but the absolute tippy top people who run the church have that information, and
so it's like Fight Club.
I'm not one of them.
Right. Is there a place to go, like a church, a temple? Is there an actual physical building for this?
No, there is not. Again, Satanism is a very individualistic religion. Most people, if they do choose to ritualize, do so in their own homes.
Okay, and now the other side of who you are, and there's a lot of sides of David Harris, man. You
not as many as there used to be. I'm down 50 pounds.
You look good, man. You're
look
good.
You have the long hair flowing.
Yeah, guy got long hair.
The pandemic made me go feral.
Yeah, it looks like he was in Deep Purple at one time. I can't tell. You're also a director. Tell our audience what kind of movies you direct.
I am an adult filmmaker, small independent studio called Dave's Custom Media. You can find the bulk of my material on Clips for Sale, clipsforsale.com. Actually, if you go to my Instagram, davescustommedia.com, all spelled out, there's a link tree link in my Instagram bio that goes to my 2 clip stores. And I believe I've also set up a form for custom requests there, and a link to my eBay store, I think. I'm an adult filmmaker.
How does anyone make money in the porn industry these days?
I haven't figured it out.
With the
damned if I know. I have no freaking idea. It's difficult. The business has particularly as you really do have to, if you want to make money in the adult industry in 2023, you have to be willing to get in front of the camera yourself. Small independent studios like mine are drying up. I actually haven't released a movie in almost 3 years.
Wow.
Because between just I've got stuff in the can, I'm going to put it out eventually, but it's just I know I'm not going to get anything back for it because no one wants to see this. I mean, I look great with my clothes on, but no one wants to see this. And even though I'm in a couple of videos, for the most part, I like to stay behind the camera. And there's not much of a market anymore for people who like to stay behind the camera, because porn, through sites like OnlyFans, has become a direct to model / consumer market. You don't have to buy a video. You don't have to subscribe to a website for $24.95 a month anymore. You can go, you like a girl, you go right to her specific OnlyFans and you get just her shit for whatever she charges a month, and you're supporting the girl you really like. It's great for the models. I think it's really handed the industry back to the performers. It sucks for me.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so you have like, I mean, there's a million different porn sites. So let's pick out one, like Pornhub. Okay, so there's a million different type of fetishes and models and different things you can be into, right? Do the performers on those videos, do they get a residual? Do they get any type of payment for, if people click those clips?
The Pornhub's ad rev share pays a pittance. It's so not worth it. Only the top tier people are making money off of that rev share. And since Pornhub lost its credit card processing, it's damn near impossible for anybody other than the most well-known studios and models to make any kind of money on Pornhub.
And how do they make their money? Because it seems like it's
rev share.
free.
Rev
With
share.
what?
Rev share.
Web share.
Revenue share. Advertising revenue share.
Gotcha. Okay. And when was the first time you saw porn yourself?
I don't know. I probably swiped a penthouse out of my father's work van when I was like 11 or 12.
Oh, I went way earlier. I was like 7.
Because I'm curious how you went from again, where'd you grow up, Dave?
Grew up on Long Island.
Okay, from Long Island to being a Catholic kid in Long Island, to eventually becoming part of the Church of Satan, to becoming a director of porn. And Sean told me you had a specific genre, which was S&M porn, right?
Yeah, we started out doing fetish porn, mostly spanking, foot fetish, mostly because when you're a startup, filming full man-woman sex scenes is expensive. Models get paid very well. Fetish models get paid considerably less because there's nothing penetrative going on for the most part. So it's a good place for someone who's starting out in the business, who doesn't have a lot of money, but still wants to pay a model their rate, start shooting fetish porn. And we started shooting spanking porn because my wife was my primary model. She has a spanking fetish. She enjoyed doing it. And from there we got into foot fetish. She was a smoker, so just doing smoking fetish videos, was a no-brainer until she quit. And from there, as you a little bit of money, you sell some clips, rinse, repeat, shoot some more, and it's like any other business. You just build it from the ground up.
Like, you don't have any problem like seeing some of your friends like on video and stuff like that, like people that and you're close with?
No, why would I?
I couldn't look. You guys are posting it all over the place. And like, and your wife's like, I'm like, I can't fucking do it. I can't look. I just.
But then
can't
the choice, you don't have to look.
I didn't.
But
I didn't.
But that's the whole.
It's just a weird thing for me. I don't know. Like, I'm
watching my friends fuck. I don't know. They call me crazy. I think it's fun.
That's the thing about fetishes, man. You don't find fetishes. Fetishes find you. We're not in control in what really turns us on. We just know that you'll look at something and you're like, that's hot, or that disgusts me. But we're not in control of really like what really turns us on. We could be in denial sometimes, but we're not always.
I think Jeff's coming out. Let's this is what this sounds like. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So let me ask you, Dave, has doing this affected your relationship with any family and friends? To piggyback on what Sean just said.
Good question.
No, not really. I mean, I'm quite certain that everyone knows I don't hide anything. At this point, what else would shock them? I mean, honestly, right? I'm wired differently. I always have been.
But that's what makes you interesting.
What makes me interesting. That's what people tell me. That's what people tell me anyway.
And you're a married guy, and your wife is completely on board with this. You guys went into this as a joint venture, correct?
Yeah, we it was her idea actually because I was something that I'd always voiced a desire to do, and she's like, "Why don't you do it?" And I didn't have a good answer, so we started. And it's been a blast. I love doing it. I probably will at some point release another movie. It I have no illusions that I'm ever going to make real money at this. So I'm just going to make stuff that I want to make, and if people want to watch it, cool. If not, I made it for me.
How much does a
Artistic
porn
freedom is
actress
just
get
fucking
made?
amazing. I just fucking love it.
Yeah.
Um,
How much would a porn actress make?
you'd have to ask them.
A typical one. Like if
Every,
you're
every girl's rate is different, and it's kind of it would kind of be bad form for me to publicly discuss generalized rates outside of what goes on here. If a girl wants to disclose her rates, that's her business.
and women get paid more than men.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
That much that should be obvious.
Well, listen. I mean, you have a couple of guys who guys like who I know, like I've heard of Ron Jeremy, Evan Stone. I think is kind of like a big one. So they've been kind of like.
What's interesting to me is that most of the guys I know who are porn aficionados tend to be more into the dudes, not from a sexual standpoint, but oh yeah, like you're a fan of us. It's like he's your favorite sports guy. Like he's your favorite player on your team. Like, oh yeah, dude, I watched him do this fucking video, and he did like a dang bang with these fucking 3 chicks. And it's weird to me that dudes root for other dudes in porn, but I guess
Never rooted for the fucking dude in porn.
I've seen dudes do that, and it's a weird phenomenon. I mean, whatever you're into, man, it's cool by me, but it strikes me as odd.
No, put those beautiful tits away. Let me see that cock again. Yeah, no, that's never come out of my mouth. Ever.
But could it be that they're living vicariously through these?
That's true. I would probably chalk that kind of thing up to guys just living vicariously through. I know they fixate on a particular actor, and they know that dude's movies.
Are there any rules on the set of a porno, like do's and don'ts?
Don't do anything that the models haven't consented to. That's a big one.
That's called the Louis C.K. rule.
Yeah, precisely. No, consent is key on a porn set. Everyone needs to agree to everything ahead of time. Everything needs to be spelled out when you're negotiating the scene, like you would any other contract. Like if you're negotiating a show, and stuff goes in your writer. I do this, and this, and this thing is off limits. I don't do this. And you adhere to it to the letter, because consent is important, and it's something that needs to be followed. Safety on a set, making your models feel safe is paramount. So anything that happens that makes somebody feel unsafe needs to be done away with right away.
Is it business-like, or is it just like very matter of fact? Like you go in there, you do your job, you leave, or is it kind of like sexy too?
I don't like, well, actually, no, I do like to dispel the rumors of it just being like a sleazy fucking, that because it should, because I know when I run a set, it's a professional set. Everything it's very businesslike. Everyone is there to do a job. Everyone knows each other. Everyone's conversed. Everyone's friendly. Everyone's enthusiastic about doing the work. But at the end of the day, it's you are engaging in a business activity, and it should be treated as such. It is a workplace. So the fan home romanticism of it's sleazy and dark and the room's not lit and she's not totally into it needs to go away, because any set that is like that is a dangerous place and needs to be doing wrong and needs to not exist.
Anything weird, awkward ever happened while you were on set?
I put out a couple of blooper videos. You can find them on my Twitter, Dave's Custom XXX. Just scroll through the timeline. Just paddling and just paddle smacks the camera, knocks it off kilter. We've broken paddles over girls' butts. Bloopers, bloopers are fun.
Did you ever see the movie 8mm?
Yes, I've seen 8mm.
Okay, and I forgot who the what was the porn director's name? Do you remember? Okay,
No.
It's the same guy who plays the weird ghost that hangs out on the train in the movie Ghost.
Yeah, and he's all no, it's not. It's not. It's the same guy from Fargo.
Who is also the guy from Ghost.
Velvet.
Yeah, Dino Velvet.
Yes. Velvet. That was his name. And Joaquin Phoenix is in it, Sean, and Nicolas Cage. And that's the way I've always kind of thought how porn were kind of shot. It seemed like that scene, that movie really took you into that world.
The scene where people got killed. That's what you think porn is like.
Well, I think when we talked about fetish porn, and I do think that that there is of course what the movie was showing was that there is this elitist group of people and that have this really crazy fetish, and if you pay enough, you can make anything happen on film.
And that was plausible to you.
Yes.
Jeff's not a smart person, Dave. I just want you to understand that.
Why? That seems completely plausible.
I don't think so.
I
think there's people who will do anything for the right amount of money. I don't think
that's what the movie was saying.
Say that, but I don't think it's like there's some secret society that says, "Hey, I want to find a fucking Indian grandma amputee with alopecia." You know what I mean? Like, make it happen. That doesn't exist.
If that was your turn on, okay, and there was a guy like this. I think his name was Victor Velvet, who existed. And you paid him say $25,000 or whatever you pay him. That you can watch something that gets you off. I think there's someone who could make something like that happen.
I'm cheap.
There are custom studios who I'm a custom studio. You can pay me thousands of dollars and I will shoot anything you want as long as it's legal. That's the caveat. It's legal. There are. If I will say this, on the off chance that anything like that exists, I am not aware of it.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What's the biggest misconception that people would have about the porno industry?
I think we just discussed it.
Is there anything else that we kind of left out here?
In 2023, the industry continues to change. It's still very much under assault by do-gooder Christians who really just want to eliminate porn under the guise of protecting children, and we know that's all a bunch of horse shit. Because we all know Christians are the biggest groomers and pedophiles out there, so they're not really trying to protect children at all. This is really all just to end the adult film industry. In 2023, the industry continues to change. It continues to really be turned back over to the performers, but there's still ways to go. You still hear stories of, people taking liberties on sets, and some things some things still need to change. But by and large, it has become it's become so much safer than it was 20 years ago and even 40 years ago for performers, especially now that's really, again, as much as it affects me to see the studio system sort of dissolving, the fact that performers are taking charge of their own production pretty much makes the safest environment possible for them.
I was just reading this study, and there's a lot of younger people, people in their 20s, who right now prefer not to go on dates, to just they rather just stay home, watch porn, watch what turns them on. They find it to be cheaper, they find it to be, it's consensual. It gets, amongst themselves. It's like we've gotten away from human contact, mostly because of, especially since the pandemic. Okay.
And those guys can go to davescustommedia.com on Instagram. Hit my link tree. Buy some videos. I would appreciate it. I get it, even though I don't feel as though I fall into that. I love women. I do. I'm sorry. I enjoy talking to them. I couldn't imagine a life without my wife. She's amazing. So I couldn't. I personally could not imagine life without a partner. But if there are guys, if you're out there and you're doing it and you're happy, friggin' hell yeah, have at it.
Do you think
Yeah.
too much porn desensitizes you to like an actual physical relationship?
I've been making porn now for a decade, and I still get excited to see my wife naked every time. So short answer is no, I don't.
No. Okay.
I think if when you hear stories of people who are like, I've been desensitized to porn, no, there's an underlying problem. You've been desensitized to intimacy, and maybe porn had something to do with that. Maybe it didn't, but porn is not to blame. Porn is, if anything, you're medicating your problem with porn.
I can never see them getting rid of porn. I think there is just too much of a demand for it. I don't think people, sit and talk about it in open forums, but I definitely believe that, like, listen, this industry hasn't been around and hasn't been $1 billion industry for as long as it has because nobody watches it. There's a lot of people who watch it, just don't want to talk about it or admit it.
It's not going to go away. And truth be told, if we as an industry had our druthers, we would make all of the free porn go away. Pornhub fucked this business. Pornhub, to me, is directly responsible for all of the Christian outcry that's going on right now. Not because any of that Christian outcry is correct, but simply because Pornhub made it all free and available for anyone to access, which even people in the industry feel is wrong. Children shouldn't be accessing pornography. It should be accessed by people who are 18 or over. We want to put it all behind a paywall because we don't want giving our shit away. Well, we want you to pay for it.
Well, David, it's like the record industry and like what Napster did to with the music.
It's exactly that. It is exactly that. And now the industry is going through those pains of trying to figure out what to do in a post-Pornhub world where free porn is now prevalent. And it appears that the OnlyFans model is the answer. Where, okay, people who are you're always going to have that glut of old porn from the 90s that's up on Pornhub, but now as new stuff gets created, it's all getting put behind a paywall, and I personally couldn't be happier.
So yeah, I agree with that 100%. Like, I don't put a lot of and this is nowhere near on the same level, but I don't ever put a lot of material of mine on the internet, on YouTube and stuff. I see people, they'll work out a joke and throw it up on social media and throw it up on videos and stuff like that. And when it's not ready, it's not worked out. But my theory is, why would I put an hour special on and put it on YouTube? People don't.
What you're seeing with a lot of comics, what they're putting on is like really crowd work. No, I don't see like a lot of real jokes, well-written jokes. Last thing I wanted to ask you, David. So with everything we just talked about, how do you change? How do you shift in this now new market?
I start doing some crunches and some push-ups. It's at this point, I don't know if, again, unless I really want to get in front of the camera, which I'm at 45, I'm not interested in doing. There's really no way for me to pivot in any kind of a meaningful way that's going to turn a profit. So for me, it's going to be if I get an idea for an adult film that really strikes my fancy, if it's something that I want to make because it's something that I feel I want to will into existence in this world, I will lay out the money, I will pay for it, I will shoot it, I'll put it out, and I will watch it. And if anybody else watches it along with me, that's gravy. Because I don't think it's going to get much better than that for people in my position, unless they've had an established reputation prior to this OnlyFans movement happening. My other option that I've always been exploring is I want to make a horror movie. That's really my next. That's my next goal.
We got to post some of your old stand-up.
I was a fucking awful stand-up. Don't ever. Is any of that stuff even out there? It might be on my YouTube. It might be on my YouTube.
We're not arguing.
David, this time went by really, really quick, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, glad to do it, man.
We really appreciate it. This was very, very interesting.
Well, glad to do it. Like I said, hit up my Instagram, davescustommedia.com. Spell out the .com. Don't just put a dot, like spell DOTCOM. To find me on Instagram, there's a link tree. You get to my clips for sale sites, buy my movies. What
we can do is we could have Adam put the link up on the video. So when guys who are listening, if you could just you want to check out Dave's work, please just all you gotta do is hit a link that we'll put up, and we'll take care of that for you. Thank you so much, Sean. Any parting questions?
Yeah, who's your band?
Yeah, we never really got to that, did we?
No, we never do.
We never do, is right.
Band, I can't even think of a band to shout out that I've been listening to. You know what? I've been rediscovering a band that I grew up listening to in my teen years. Let me shout them out.
Backstreet Boys.
Search out Bile on Spotify.
Oh, Bile's great.
I just growing up on Long Island, Bile more so than any other band that had an electronic industrial metal sound. I was super into Bile.
I just played in league today. You believe that shit?
Nice. Yeah, no, it's hilarious. Nathan Gray from Boy Sets Fire is a buddy of mine, and he was doing a solo show a couple years ago in Brooklyn. Heather and I go to see him, and I'm looking over at the sound guy, and I'm like, I know that guy, and it's Christoph from Bile. And I had interviewed him in college when I was 19 at a gig, and he remembered. He looked at my face and we started talking. He's like, I remember that show and I remember that interview. And I was like, oh, shit. And we ended up just bullshitting the whole night. Good dude.
Nice.
All right, man.
Jeffrey, take it home.
Yeah. Hey, listen, David, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Guys, keep continuing to support us and subscribe. And, we'll keep bringing out really cool podcasts like this. David Harris, thank you so much, man. We really appreciate it.
Jeff, been a pleasure. Sean, I love you, Angel Tits. I will talk to you soon.
All right.
Until next time, everybody, take care.
Lit.